After just 3 years in the NBA, Derrick Rose was recognized as one of the most exciting and best players in the NBA.
Yes, and it counts. Knocks off a steal by Derrick Rose. And Rose, the reverse window. Rose.
He's really guarding Deng, but he's well away from him. Rose crosses over the fadeaway.
Quickly step back and MVP time. With the City Assassin does it again. Rose, stop it. Do not do him like that. What are you doing, Dragons? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs.
Derrick Rose has had a good career and is one of just 13 players remaining in the NBA from the 2008 draft. But D-Rose's career has had its ups and downs and has been riddled with injuries. But at the height of Derrick Rose's career, he was undeniably one of the best players in the league. While Derrick Rose was in college at Memphis, his future team was struggling. The Bulls went 33-49 in the 2007-2008 regular season and were led by a 24-year-old Ben Gordon and a 22-year-old Luol Deng. But even with an average team and a losing record, the Bulls were far from the worst team in the league. That would be the Miami Heat. While the Heat were just 2 years removed from winning an NBA championship and still had much of the same core, their season was full of injuries. In fact, only one player on their team, Ricky Davis, played 70 games or more. That season, Dwayne Wade played 51 games, Shaquille O'Neal played 33 games, and their newly acquired four-time All-Star, Shawn Marion, played just 16 games. With so many injuries, the Heat finished the regular season with a record of 15-67, giving them the best odds at winning the 2008 draft lottery, with a 25% chance at getting the first overall pick, and a potential duo of Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose looked like it could be in Miami's future. But of course, in the draft lottery, the first overall pick went to the Chicago Bulls, a team with a 1.7% chance who were projected to receive the 9th overall pick.
With the first pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Derrick Rose from the University of Memphis. Derrick Rose.
In his rookie season, Derrick Rose immediately began to positively impact the Bulls. They improved their record by 8 games and qualified for the playoffs as the 7th seed. Rose won the Rookie of the Year award after per-game averages of 16.8 points and 6.8 assists.
And he blocked the shot. Derrick Rose never gave up on the play.
To get some playing time. Salmons underneath, and there's Rose with an acrobatic move. That's just pure athleticism right there. Nice hang.
Here's Rose. Boy, he had a shot to fake the drive. The layup good.
The Bulls lost in the first round of the playoffs, but in the process showed signs of major potential. They took the reigning champion Boston Celtics to 7 games, and Derrick Rose improved his scoring to nearly 20 points per game. That offseason, the Bulls did not re-sign Ben Gordon and opted to give more responsibility to their young core, and it seemed to work. Derrick Rose made his first All-Star appearance, and the Bulls had the same record as the year prior, at 41-41, qualifying for the playoffs, this time as the 8th seed. Chicago again lost in the first round, this time to the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers, but Derrick Rose showed superstar-like qualities. In that series, Rose averaged 26.8 points per game and 7.2 assists per game.
Try to trap Rose. Rose again. Rose met by Parker. Here's Rose with that push shot. Rose. Yes.
Eric, on a lighter note, did you hear the crowd screaming MVP when you were at the free throw line?
Don't listen to them, man. Do not listen to them.
In the July following that playoff series, while LeBron and Bosh were headed to Miami, the Bulls signed Carlos Boozer as an addition to their young team to a 5-year, $75 million contract. That year, the 2010-2011 season, was historical for Derrick Rose and the Bulls. The team captured the best regular season record throughout the NBA at 62-20. That was the first time the Bulls won over 60 games since the 1997-1998 season, when Michael Jordan and Chicago won their 6th championship. And Derrick Rose was undoubtedly the leader of the new Bulls. While D. Rose showed flashes in the past 2 seasons, his 3rd season proved to be his true arrival as an NBA superstar, leading the Bulls to the 1 seed with 25 points per game and 7.7 assists per game. That season, he was named as the starting point guard in the All-Star game, and Derrick Rose became just the 3rd player since the 1972-73 season to record 2,000 points and 600 assists in a single season, joining LeBron James and Michael Jordan as the only players to do it up to that point. And at just 22 years old, Derrick Rose was given the 2011 Most Valuable Player Award, the youngest player to ever win the award.
And in a league of very valuable players, you are the most valuable, and it is my pleasure to award to you the Kia NBA 2010-11 MVP trophy.
In the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, Rose continued his MVP-level play. In the first round against the Indiana Pacers, he improved his scoring to 27.6 points per game. The Bulls advanced after beating the Pacers in 5 games. In the second round, against the Atlanta Hawks, those numbers moved up to 29.8 points per game and 9.8 assists per game. In those 2 series, the Chicago Bulls went 8-3 and advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they would face the Miami Heat. In that conference finals, Derrick Rose struggled, and the Heat proved to be too much for Chicago, beating them in 5 games. But that series reintroduced an old rivalry. The Heat put together a super team, but the young Bulls had the best record in the league. At that point, Miami vs. Chicago seemed like an Eastern Conference rivalry that would dominate the playoffs for years to come. Just 3 years into his professional career, Derrick Rose was immensely popular. Kobe Bryant was in the late stages of his career, and LeBron James was viewed as a villain by many fans, especially after his team up in Miami. Derrick Rose seemed to be emerging as one of the faces of the NBA for the foreseeable future. In early 2012, Derrick Rose was given a new contract with Adidas, who Rose had been signed to since his rookie year. That contract estimated to be worth nearly $190 million. The 2011-2012 NBA season was shortened due to a lockout. With the slightly shortened season, the Bulls finished as the 1 seed again, with a 50-16 record. Rose had some small injuries during the regular season and missed a handful of games. In the first round of the playoffs, the Bulls matched up with the Philadelphia 76ers, and in Game 1, things were looking good for Chicago. The Bulls held the lead for nearly 46 minutes of the game, and with about a minute left in regulation and a 12-point lead, the future for Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls came to an abrupt halt.
You were crying out that you bypassed the harder team in Miami Heat.
Rose came down bad on his left foot, holding onto his knee, and down. Was it an ankle or a knee? I do not know. There's Coach.
An MRI later revealed a torn ACL in Rose's left knee. His exit from the game that night marked a shift in his career and in the Bulls franchise as a whole. The Bulls ended up losing the series in 6 games to the 76ers, and Rose sat out the entirety of the next season. And that injury was the start to a string of many injuries for D. Rose. Pre-injury Derrick Rose was showing all-time great potential. His ability to attack the rim and finish with both power and finesse, and in traffic, was unique and really unlike anything before or after. At the time of his injury, the 23-year-old was the defending MVP on arguably the best team in the league, and his hype was at an all-time high. How good was prime Derrick Rose? The truth is, we don't know. Derrick Rose suffered that knee injury after just 4 years in the NBA at age 23, and he was getting better. But even with the injuries, Derrick Rose has had a great career. He has spent 14 years in the NBA and has recorded career per-game averages of 17.7 points and 5.3 assists. And in July 2023, Rose signed a contract with the Memphis Grizzlies, extending his career for at least 2 more years. But even with a solid career, what if Derrick Rose never got injured? How good would he have been? Let us know what you think in the comments, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Basketball Pantheon.